service is a caring profession. Tell us about the talents you possess and how you will utilize them in your career.
I'm a natural caregiver. I'm a caregiver by nature and have been doing this for over 20 years. This skill and talent will allow me to advocate and continue to take care of deceased after death. I will not only take care of the deceased, but the mourning family left behind because of my natural counseling and support abilities. I was raised Catholic. I am a very spiritual person and open to absorbing the influences of other faiths and religions. In my early devotions and sacraments, I have learned that death is only the beginning, and caring does not stop and should not stop when one of our brothers, sisters in Christ dies. I'm also a good listener. My beliefs are my own, but I make it my mission to honor and celebrate the way my clients see fit and comfortable to celebrate the life lived of a loved one. My greatest skill, I believe, is to be able to listen to the wishes and desires of the client. And I'm also a business-savvy consultant with strong sales, marketing, advertising skills, and ability to take advantage of social media. With my sales experience, I will certainly take advantage of making sure clients' pre-needs are met as a certified pre-need consultant. This is not only to serve the client in their final wishes, but also drums up new business for SCI. I'm also a visionary and forward thinker. I'm also an artist and use it to create solutions in very creative ways. And I think one of my greatest strengths is also the ability to recognize that we are mortal and able to cope with trauma and family tragedy. Help. Unfortunately, having experienced it myself will help me relate to others. And I have a lot of love to give. I really have been preparing my entire life for this one very important role.
What does community involvement mean to you? How does it relate to funeral service?
What does community mean to me? It's about relationship building, volunteering, finding passion, calling and going with it. Knowing one's strength, talents, and skills, and using it to help others. So how does it relate to funeral service? Basically in the same way. In the funeral service profession, I believe relationships are the key to life. Because relationships are the very things that bridge the gaps between barriers that become those sticky subjects for many. It is asking, knowing what I know, how can I help others? In the funeral business, I am willing to host seminars, forums to educate people on how to cope with grief, because the need to tell the story and have it heard prevails. People experiencing loss just cannot get over it. They cannot just buckle up and pretend like it never happened, like media would want you to believe. That is why I want to interact with the local community and make sure I am there for people. Listening, to be there to listen to them. Sometimes not saying a word, but just being there for that person makes all the difference in the world. My passion is to open up opportunities for celebrating one's life through proper and creative commemoration ranging from tribute portraits through full-scale biographical documentary productions. My other passion is educating people on knowing how to help others cope with grief. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people, they want to help somebody who's experienced loss, but the reality is they don't know how. They're uncomfortable with it.
Continuing education is vitally important for your continued success in the ever-changing profession of funeral service. Give an example why continuing education is important in funeral service.
Sure, continuing education is vitally important for my continued success in the ever-changing profession of funeral service. Because I agree, additional education allows us to remain current with our current career field and life path and prepares us when opportunity strikes. I am a testimonial to this philosophy. I never thought I would be back in school, formally again, but I have been called into this profession by God. And I took it very seriously by investing all I had and moving down here from Chicago to Carbondale to pursue my mortuary science degree at Southern Illinois University. That is why I need your help. Being sensitive and aware of modern funeral customs requires continuing education. Because we are a wonderful nation of immigrants reflecting vast cultural diversity to stay current and honor everyone's wishes, it is imperative to educate ourselves. For instance, the African American wake is spread over many days. The funeral begins and ends with ritualistic drumming, singing, and dancing, and much libation is poured as the priest speaks in the language specific to the common ancestry or geography location of the family in Africa. Latin American funeral hold the wakes for a minimum of 2 days for a 24-hour span of time, with an open casket for viewing, a full Catholic Mass, and burial in Catholic cemetery. However, the use of photography to photograph deceased is an important part of funeral rite, as a rite of passage for the deceased. I have also learned that in Buddhist funerals, there is a strict protocol surrounding the funeral rite. The wake lasts 1 to 3 days, open casket with an altar called a bossadin, set up with flowers, fruits, a bowl of water, incense, and a candle. It's a beautiful sight. In closing, the continuity that extends across cultures suggests that funerals are not only to provide solace for the living, but to assure that ritual attention and honor are respectfully, ethnically, and appropriately given to the deceased.